Broadcasting from the basement of La Penta, it's WICR.
Kevin Durant is soon to be one of the most popular men in professional sports this coming summer. Jersey Joe Archino here with Martino Puccio. And Martino, we're going to start things off with Kevin Durant. His name is going to be everywhere, continuing the kind of epic saga we're going to see his name fall into this summer. But where will he land? How will his future kind of line up? The Boston Celtics, one of those teams there where we think they might be in the mix of things. What do you think about that?
Well, that's the thing. No one knows what's going to happen, and I think we're not really going to get a better look at anything until the season's over and see how the postseason plays out. Because say OKC does make a great run in the postseason, and they rival the Spurs and the Warriors, and Kevin Durant sees this team as the Oklahoma City Thunder as a team that he could stay at and still win a championship, or does he want to go an easier route and go through the East? Because it doesn't look like the Spurs are going to be getting any weaker. The Warriors certainly aren't, but they're going to have to make some moves because they have to pay Steph soon. And it just all depends on what his outlook is and what he sees in the future. Really, like LeBron had a couple years ago, the first time when he left Cleveland, he has to think of his opportunities because he's entering his prime right now. If it's not now, it's next year at least. And the thought of Boston is just it's crazy, but if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense in a lot of areas. They got a great young core. It's not too talented, but it's talented enough, and they're winning games. They got one of the best coaches in the league. They have money. They have money for 2 max players. So if he wants to bring a friend with him over there, they can do that. And say he comes to Boston, then Danny Ainge has the power to trade a Jay Crowder and one of the many guards they have, or even one of the Brooklyn picks for another star. You know. Say a point guard that doesn't really like his situation, then you move Isaiah Thomas back to the bench. He's your 6th man. Okay, say they sign Al Horford too. Then you got Horford. You could keep Kelly Olynyk as your stretch 4. Then you got KD as your 3, and then whatever the situation is with the point guard and the shooting guard, depending on a trade that's probably going to have to happen. But there's a lot of options there. I think out of all the teams in the East, I think they make the most sense to me, and I don't want to sound biased, but in terms of assets, coach,
no one has the
system,
assets that they do.
No, and Philly technically has assets, but that's it. They're not players. Boston has some players.
Kevin Durant's a smart guy, too.
And they're winning now. Kevin Durant's not going to... And would he go to the Warriors? I don't see why he would do that. That really doesn't make sense.
That's what I want to ask you about next, is that when that story got broken by Yahoo Sports that the Warriors were kind of set to make a big push for him, they could do it financially because of the way that the money continues to rise and the way that the revenue is going, but... Stephen Curry was asked about that in an interview, and he kind of said, in response to that, without the reporter who asked him the question didn't directly mention KD, but you kind of know that's who it was, and Steph knew too. He said, I'm happy with where our team is right now. I don't think Steph really would want to surrender any part of it. I think everyone on that team understands it's Stephen Curry's team. It's Stephen Curry's league now, and I don't know if Steph would want to share the mantle with anybody.
Yeah, it really doesn't make sense to me why he would go there. There's a lot of moving parts. I remember Woj Wojnarowski.
He's the best.
He's the best for basketball. I remember he retweeted his article. It was someone from Yahoo at the time, and they showed all the whole process that has to go down just for him to get there, and it involves giving up players like Iguodala's got to go.
Yeah,
I think.
Iguodala was definitely the big one.
Azili's got to go. A bunch of guys got to go, but is he really worth it? Do they really need them? They're on the brink of history right now. They might just break Michael Jordan's Bulls 72 win record. Okay, and they're probably going to do it. They might get 74.
Yeah.
Who knows? 75 is a real possibility, depending on what they do when they still have to play the Spurs 3 times. I think.
Yeah, that's pretty tough. One of them is Saturday.
But either way, to get that close in the first place, what do you need Kevin Durant to go undefeated? You don't need that. They don't even play that many minutes in the first place. Steph really doesn't play that much. If
No.
you look at it in term like look at LeBron. LeBron's played the most minutes out of anyone like ever at this rate. It's absurd. So why would they want to mess with it at all? You got to go with the classic cliche. If it's not broken, don't fix it.
It's not, and it's one of those things where one of the things that makes Golden State so special is their depth. They have depth on their team that no one else has because of the way that they've drafted and the way that they filled out their team. But why would you need Kevin? They really, I really think when you look at this team, realistically, they have a shot here to three-peat. They really do. I don't know when the next time.
Who knows how long it can go, to be honest.
Who knows? And I just don't know if Kevin Durant, there's a need for it right now, like maybe it would be for some other teams. But clearly, one of the other teams whose name he's always mentioned to, and his running mate, Russell Westbrook, is the Lakers. But the Lakers is an interesting one. It's not a very good situation right now. How likely do you think KD to the Lakers is?
Oh, here's my thing. A lot of people are getting scared every time they go and talk to the Lakers because they never really have a sense of a plan. You heard it when LaMarcus Aldridge went there in the summer. They didn't tell him what they were going to do basketball-wise that was going to make him want to come to LA. It was, come to LA, it's LA, we're the
LA.
Lakers. We have rings, but not now, and we're not going to come close to it. And my thing is, I've said it all the time about the whole D'Angelo Russell situation, Byron Scott situation there, that butting of the heads. Kobe's just on the way out. They care more about Kobe leaving than their players developing. It's not really a sense of a plan. There's friction at the top with Jim and Jeannie Buss.
Yeah, there's always friction there.
Yeah, I don't remember if it's Jim or Jerry. I think Jerry was his dad. But there's always friction there because Jeannie said, okay, Jim, you get to run the team for a couple years, and if we don't like the direction you're going in, it's my turn. It's kind of, you're making it into a brother-sister fight.
Yeah.
These are the Lakers, okay? Millions of fans. They make billions of dollars for the NBA. And I just don't really think there's a plan there. Russell Westbrook, yeah, but you're going to give up on D'Angelo Russell already? I just don't see the point in it. And OKC has a lot of money to give, so they're going to be offering the max to either of them. They could do it for the both of them. What if one of them doesn't want to leave? What if one of them wants to stay there? They know how to draft down in OKC. They really know what they're doing. I'll give that to Sam Presti. He does a really great job. They just haven't gotten over the hump and won the championship. The only trade that was poor was the James Harden one, and
Yes.
they didn't need to trade him that
They
early
didn't.
too. They could have waited another year, and they probably might have traded the wrong guard to go with Kevin Durant, but that's a whole nother story. But going back to Kevin Durant, it really seems like he's just going to go test the waters in free agency at this point. If he stays in OKC, I think it's going to be a 1-year show me thing. Go back out in the free agent market later, see how much money I can make there, which is what Melo should have done.
Well,
right?
we all know
He could learn his lesson,
Yeah.
though.
We all know Carmelo Anthony, and Carmelo doesn't always prioritize what matters the most when it comes to things.
Yeah.
But I think Durant's such an interesting one, too, because in terms of where he is with his game right now, like you kind of alluded to earlier, he's kind of right there. He's at the prime, the tip of the top of his career. And it could not be more coveting, and it doesn't always happen that way, that you're able to get a transcendent talent like this, which could change everything for you. But the people are going to be lining up, and the Lakers are one of the ones where, again, you hit the nail on the head perfectly. They keep on trying to sell you on what they used to represent, but they don't represent what they used to anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the thing though. That's why I think he likes Boston a lot, because I'll read you the quote right now from this article and from ESPN. He says, "You can feel the tradition walking in here. You see all the guys plastered on the walls as you walk into the locker room. The tradition of being a Boston Celtic is second to none. It's amazing playing here. The fans, they're very energetic and they cheer for their team. It's amazing to see as a player to have fans that care about the game so much." Wow.
So that's a big quote.
And that's not just a compliment. That's kind of that's really tossing the idea, hey, this might be a place I would consider playing in.
Well, you know what it is? With the Celtics, you get the same tradition of winning and culture like the Lakers do, but you have a direction. You have a sense of this is where we are now. These are the assets we have. These are the young players we're developing. This is what we want to do in the next 5 years. There's a plan there, and you could see the plan starting to grow and build at because of what they've done this season. It's an appealing scenario. It really is.
Mm-hmm. And the thing with the Lakers too, say this pick doesn't fall top 3, that goes to Philly. What other young guy are they gonna get then if KD or a free agent doesn't want to come here? I still think they are probably gonna pick up a lower tier free agent. Just it's kind of the Yankee effect too. They just because they don't have a great team and the future isn't that great. Not saying the Yankees don't have a great future. That's a different topic for a different time.
Absolutely.
But the point is, they're gonna get players just because they're the Lakers. Put it that way, okay? And they have money to toss. They're gonna have all the money in the world. But for a guy like Kevin Durant, who's gonna be the second best free agent of all time behind LeBron, okay, he really has to go follow LeBron's footsteps. And in footsteps is Miami, the footsteps, like you thought.
See, that's where I stand is, how could you ever count out Pat Riley? Every time, we've heard people say that Pat Riley was always been trying to reload and looked at, once the big three kind of split apart and LeBron went back, that Kevin Durant would be the next guy on his list. And you can't ever underestimate Pat Riley's ability because he's a smooth talker. He's a guy who can sell people, and I think in terms of the financials and other things, that stuff all will work out because they have smart. Everyone's smart in the NBA. Everyone can figure out how to move money around, how to move players around. What it comes down to is, of course, how viable is Miami right now with this roster if Kevin Durant joins it.
Well, that's the thing you have to see. It depends how good you think Kevin Durant is. If he's at a LeBron level, they go to the finals out of the East, because Cleveland is just a dumpster fire in terms of a locker room right now.
It's not good.
And it doesn't go well with Kyrie being ball dominant and LeBron being ball dominant at the same time. It worked out in Miami because D-Wade's a slasher and Bosh was a shooter too. Kevin Love, I think, is a good match with LeBron. I think they could do well, but it's clearly just not working out right now. But Kevin Durant, it's at that point also where you're not impressed anymore with what he does, and that's a compliment.
Yes,
you're used to seeing 35 points a night, almost every other night, right? And it's just kind of like, oh, okay, it's just Kevin Durant doing Kevin Durant things. But when you add someone like that to your team, then you realize how good he is and how many wins. They're having a great year. They just got caught in the worst possible time in the West. The Spurs are having a historical year. They're undefeated at home. And the Warriors are they're probably going to have the best regular season ever. So it kind of takes away from how good Russell and KD are. It's just their team in general isn't that great. But I think if you put KD on the Heat right now, I think they could go to the finals. If it were a healthy Chris Bosh, yeah, they could.
I think so too. I think you look at the way the team is, they've got that good infusion of the leaders with the younger players like the Justice Winslows who continue to grow and get better. They have a good guard. I mean, it's a very attractive place, and again, you can never underestimate the Pat Riley factor there, but if you boil it down to it, and you have to say two teams, you think if you're Kevin Durant, you're really making it your priority. These are the two you're looking at the most. What are them?
Definitely Oklahoma City is one because of the familiarity with it, the talent. OKC's still talented. Westbrook there or not, they still have some decent players. I don't want to say Boston right away. You can't really tell. I think Boston would be a really good fit for him. Miami would be a nice fit depending on how they project Winslow, because Winslow's a 3, remember?
Yes.
Washington was always the team there too that a lot of people were saying they could use everyone over there, but they're playing a lot better as of late. I've heard Chicago in the distance, but would you really want to go there considering his 2-foot surgeries?
Yeah.
On top of the medical staff, someone's always hurt. There's something wrong with everyone over there. So I'm not really sure, but my guess I would go put OKC and Boston right now, just because of the recent news and the chatter about Boston that he's been saying. I think those two make the most sense, and I could kind of see happening.
I absolutely could too, and like you said, when the incredible becomes the norm, you've certainly got something special, and the incredible has become the norm for Kevin Durant. But we'll have to continue to watch his future, and certainly we will know soon enough where he ends up choosing for his destination. But until then, Jersey Joe Archino here with Martino Puccio. We'll be back next time, folks.